so I'm in the clinic here tonight with one of our therapists, the amazing Bob Tait. Bob's been with us quite a while, and I just thought we'd do a little video just to introduce him, just so you know who he is, and talk about some things therapy-based. So, Bob, you and I have known each other for about 15 years now.
Or something like that, wasn't it? Back in NLP Northeast days, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a training course in NLP skills. And that was an interesting time in that we met a lot of wonderful people.
Yeah.
Spent a year training together. And you were quite interesting in that you were one of those guys that had a big personality and everybody seemed to like.
Very much, yeah.
And I remember people used to complain that they couldn't get to work with Bob enough. We used to break off into little groups and everybody wanted to work with Bob. And I think one of my fondest memories was when we did the clean language training.
Okay.
With Caitlin, and you were sitting on the floor in trance with this huge smile on your face.
Surrounded by a lilac mist, I seem to recall, and in front of a drum kit.
That was
not behind one, in front of a drum kit, yeah.
And one of the things I noticed there was that Caitlin went off and did a load of talking, and I think she left you there for about half an hour with this huge smile on your face.
I think she went to the shopping at Morrison's or something, yeah.
And Bob just sat there, but yeah, we had lots and lots of fun in that. So yeah, Bob came on board a few years ago as a therapist. We'd known each other through various training courses. But one of the things I've noticed is that clients come in, usually with all sorts of problems like anxiety, depression, addiction, stress, and they're in quite a not a great state when they begin. And then within a few short weeks, they start working with Bob, and then bang, we get yet another 5-star review. And this just happens again and again and again. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that? It's just my job.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic to be able to help people. Having experienced poor mental health myself in the past, to now be able to do something and give back is the reason why, I guess, 4.5 years ago, I resigned from my job in sport, in professional sport, not as a player, I hasten to add, to do this for a living, giving something back to other people, as I've benefited so much myself in the past.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of the tools that we learnt in those courses are very, very powerful. And yeah, with working with people, we can see major transformations much faster than other methods out there. So as an example of that, it's funny that a lot of the clients that we see have previously been through CBT, counselling, medication, talking therapies, to then still have a problem with anxiety, stress and depression. Why do you think what we do gets those results so quickly when those other methods don't?
I base my practice on believing that the client has all the internal resources they need to resolve it. My job's just to facilitate that, to get it out. They're effective in terms of dealing with the unconscious and conscious mind and balancing the two together. It's I don't often know what I do and how I do it. It's just stuff that learnt on those. I mean, I did that NLP Northeast course for 4 years. Became a master practitioner, and then I've done other training since in different areas. And yeah, I have a big toolkit of stuff I can use, and depending on what I'm presented with, I dip into that. I tend not to try and make any preconceived notions of who I'm working with, or what they might be or suffering from, or what they might be experiencing, and just deal with it as it happens. I do use a lot of clean language to find out things from clients, and I think that helps really kind of work in the client's own space, in their own model of the world. And when we're changing things, we're not focusing on the causes or the symptoms or the problems. We're focusing on outcomes, and quite often not even tangible. It's more kind of metaphorical or symbolic. So I think that seems to help and seems to work.
Yeah, I think the difference there between those sometimes outdated therapies, and I don't mean to knock the people who use them because they are very well meaning, is that those seem to focus on the problem over and over, which is something the clients tell us again and again. They just spend forever talking about the problem. Whereas what you just said there is we work on how would you rather be instead. Rather than sort of focusing on anxiety, it's how do you want to feel? Do you want to be calm, relaxed, and in control?
Yeah. But I think, it's horses for courses, because I think in certain areas some people enjoy actually talking through it, and it can help certain people, but it's not for everyone. And in terms of speed of actually getting results, focusing the attention on what you want to have happen, what would you like to have happen, that classic phrase, is much more effective than focusing your attention on stuff that's maybe gone round and round in your head for years and years and years. And I should know, because I've been there and done that. And it's and a mentor of mine had a great phrase, now if I can remember it, energy flows where attention goes. And so we want to be putting the energy into how we'd rather be, instead of how we are, what the negative stuff we are experiencing.
Definitely got to agree with that. I think you and I were very fortunate that we somehow ended up doing that training course with NLP Northeast. In that, first of all, we had quite a few good trainers.
Oh, brilliant!
I'd done an awful lot of personal development and marketing work in the past, but to go in and first of all see a lady called Cricket Kemp, the way that she stood up and she trained us, first of all, it totally confused me, because it was very different.
I had to completely change my learning style. I was like, what's going on here? But I thought I had to change my learning style, but what I didn't realise was that Cricket was changing it for me, and it was basically just all being absorbed like a massive sponge into me. And it was very confusing.
It was really funny at first, but then slowly you got what was going on. And she was just one of the best trainers that I'd ever seen. And then she brought in Gary Linton, who was also, again, very different.
Yeah.
But he was an amazing trainer.
Absolutely.
And that confused me, that the styles could be so different.
Yeah.
And then we had Caitlin Walker, who did the clean language, which really made my head hurt.
Yeah.
But again, she was very unique and very good. And then we had Matt Hudson as well, who was just brilliant in all these regards. So we were very fortunate to have these different trainers.
And Lisa Morrison as well. There was they all had different areas of interest, different ways of delivering, different specialities. So it was really broad. And like I say, I did it over 4 years. Due to how I operate, I didn't make every weekend, but to do it over 4 years, it was one weekend a month for 4 years of my life was very worthwhile, and learned so much in different styles and working with different people.
It was very life-changing, and I think one of the things that shocked me was it wasn't sit there and listen to this, it was let's get in the groups and let's actually do what we're talking about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So each course gave us about 150 hours worth of training of actual hours of actually using these things. So when we came out, we knew an awful lot of skills, and it's sad I keep hearing therapists who do this in a weekend or a week, and they just not got that experience of the hours.
And I think that's like, people ask me what I do, and I can't really answer them, because I'm not a person that has like names for things. It's like, what's this technique? I don't know, I just do it because I've done it that much in the practice sessions. Not only the course, we had like practice Saturdays, didn't we? The first Saturday of the month we used to go up and practice, and it's interesting because all this, I'm currently on the assessment for adult ADHD, and I'm learning a lot about myself with that. And one of the things is I don't know what these things are called, and I don't need to know. I just get on and do them and use them in practice. And I know that if someone's sat in front of me and they're saying this, that and the other, I can pull this out and deliver that and see if it helps. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. But most of the time it does help. So
I think that's it, yeah. We've gone in and we've used this stuff so much, and that we don't remember that it's called whatever it is. But then when I meet new therapists and they say, I've just learned this technique, and I have to go in and look it up and say, yeah, we use it all the time, but we don't even think about it.
No, it's just...
So the amount of work we're doing unconsciously, and I think that's a bit of the difference, and a lot of the problems we're dealing with them on the unconscious level, where a lot of other therapies are just dealing with it on the the conscious side.
Yeah, and I think we deal with it on the unconscious level, but also a bit of conscious as well. So you're tackling it from both angles, and if the conscious mind can agree with the unconscious mind, you're onto a winner, I think.
Definitely. So on those courses, we learnt an awful lot of skills, tools, and techniques.
Yeah.
How have they benefited you personally?
Oh, it changed my life, really. I utilise them in every day, keeping myself sane in challenging situations. Again, it's like, how have they benefited me personally? I'm a lot happier. I mean, I ended up on the course because I went to see someone who does similar to what I do now. I had a few sessions with them, and that changed my life. And I remember after a few weeks of being out of that, ringing her up and saying, I don't know what you did, because I thought it was hippy dippy shit, but it's actually magic. Where can I learn about it? And she said, oh, there's a friend of mine running a course in the Linskill Centre in North Shields, and that turned out to be cricket and NLP North East, and that was probably back in 2011, 2012, I think, maybe something like that. And it's nice to think that, was it last 2023, I went to cricket's 80th birthday party, and I now treat her as a friend.
That's nice. Yeah, we made some good friends on that course.
There's lots of interesting people.
Yes, definitely.
Again, I tend to forget the names, but there's lots of interesting people.
Okay. So here's an interesting question. I got asked this by a client a couple of weeks ago, and she said to me, how does it feel to be a therapist and be able to help people?
That's a brilliant question, because I people ask me, and people seem more impressed by it than myself. Like, I'll talk to people and they're like, well, you're doing a brilliant thing. I'm just like, well, I'm just doing what I'm doing. I mean, it is a wonderful thing, and when somebody who's been going through something which has been so debilitating in their life completely changes themselves around, and then not only that, in a kind of a world where these things have stigmas attached, then goes on to Google and gives you a 5-star review that's in the public domain, you're like, that's quite humbling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It feels really, really good, but I don't ever really stop to think about it. It's only when people point out to me what I'm doing that I actually go, "Oh, hang on, actually, I'm making a difference to the world," which is pretty cool.
It is. It's lovely to see people come in with problems and actually flip them around into a learning curve, which I think both you and I have done as we've learnt these skills and sorted our own problems, to then go on and do better in life.
Yeah.
And it's just lovely to see that. There's nothing better on my side of it, of hearing somebody ring you up and say, this has happened and that's happened. And unfortunately, we can't share an awful lot of that with people because it's all confidential and people don't want to be stuck with that stigma, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But we get some real satisfaction out of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is. It's something, I don't know, I almost take it for granted. It's like, oh, well, that's what I do. I help people. That's what I do anyway.
And another similar question that I had from a client is, what is it like to sit and listen to people's problems all day?
We don't really.
No.
You know, listen to a little bit to start with. Someone wants to talk about it and you know, for a little bit, then fine. But I mean, you learn quite early on that I put up some kind of force field anyway, so I don't really take on their stuff. I don't listen to a lot of problems because we try and move it into the kind of the outcome focus. Where would you like to get to? But when if someone is talking, I kind of, you know, I couldn't tell you what someone's problem was within an hour of them leaving the room because I'm not really focused on that.
Yeah. It is a common question, but yes, it's not that we spend forever on the problem. It's the difference is when we see them move forward so quickly. That's really inspiring. I know even after a heavy day, you know, you might have had 4 or 5 clients and some serious ones, but you usually got quite uplifted, although a bit tired.
Well, absolutely. Where are we now? You know, this is 8 o'clock on an evening after I've just done a full days of sessions, and
you're still smiling.
yeah, I should be asleep really. The amount of brain work I've done, but yeah, I'm still smiling. It's yeah, it gives you an enormous sense of satisfaction that you. And I mean, that's what I was missing in a lot of my other jobs when I was in the corporate world or career focused or orientated. I wasn't ticking that box, so no matter what I thought I was doing, I was never quite happy and comfortable. And yeah, to change my barometer of success in a career to one of helping people and happiness was a big step for me, and it's certainly been the right one.
Yeah, definitely. And then another question that somebody gave to me recently, I'm interested to see how I answered this. This client said to me, how does it feel, how is life when you're a therapist and you're perfect?
No one's perfect. I still use a lot of the tools I teach people myself, and everyday life. I was working with a wonderful lady who basically soon got to the point of the day that she hasn't slept well for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I used, a process that I use that basically is my modern day equivalent of counting sheep. It's just far less boring than counting sheep. And so I taught her that. And but these, I don't think anyone's perfect, and anyone that tells you they are is probably masquerading as something they're not. Yeah, imagine that being perfect.
Yeah, I think everybody that I've met, especially in the therapy world, is everybody's working through something. Life affects us all in different ways. None of us are perfect, but I think some people think because you've been a therapist for so long that you are.
Everyone has life is life, and everyone has challenges, and it's how you approach them and how you can deal with them. And in terms of perfection, and even from a professional point of view, you're always learning. There's always more stuff you can learn, and every client you work with teaches you something.
That's very true, isn't it? That each client comes in and we find the solution, and sometimes we have people come in and we don't quite know how to put that right, because sometimes what they tell you on the phone is a bit different to what actually presents itself on the day. But then I think the mark of a good therapist is you go off and you consult with others and you find ways to deal with that and to make things better. And one of the things I enjoy about the job is actually spending some time each week researching and learning new things.
Yeah, and speaking to mentors, how have you dealt with this? And also, just kind of, just keeping abreast of what's happening. There's all sorts of... Look, the human mind's the most complex thing on the planet, and we know very little about it. People will sit there and go, yes, I'm an expert in the human mind, and but we know very little about it. The mind's one of those things that you can't really study it very much whilst it's alive, and it doesn't tend to work when someone's passed away. So we're using things like neuroscience to help us now, but there's always something to learn, and it's a fast-growing area as well. Was it yourself who I was talking to, and you said about this branch of science that's actually looking to see whether part of the mind is actually in the gut because of that gut-mind link? I don't know if it was you or someone I've spoken to. And it's like, well, who's to say it's not?
That's interesting that neuroscience and science is catching up and being able to, to confirm some of the suspicions that we had. And yes, there's, what's the new word now? There's nutritional psychiatry. That's basically saying our mental health isn't great unless we get our diet right. There's the gut biome that seems to be affecting mental health. There's getting out and doing self-care, and it's interesting that they're now starting to catch up with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, the gut biome is the hot topic of everyone, isn't it? I think it was that Zoe study that was looking into COVID where got millions of people getting involved in. They've become a commercial enterprise, and they've now moved into looking and assessing gut biome for overall gut health, physical health and mental health, basically health. I think in Western societies we separate body and mind far too easily. But yeah, there's lots of interesting things going on, and it's hard to keep up with it all, but the mind, most complex thing, we know very little about it.
It is, it's an interesting topic. So what do you find is the most exciting part about the work that we do? We've talked about how people get great results, but what is it you really like to get in and work with?
What other than the great results?
Yeah.
Exciting part of the job, you never know what. We're sat in one of the clinics now, and you never know what's coming through that door, who that person is, what they're bringing with them, what their preconceived notions are. And I guess that's the most exciting thing, is meeting people and using the skills that you have and you've learned to help them get to where they want to be in life. Or, depending on how their mind functions, away from where they don't want to be.
Yeah, it is. It's not like the same. It's not like other jobs where you might do the same thing and expect the same thing every day.
Oh no.
In fact, I think in some ways it's good because we do find challenges, and we kind of have to think on our feet. It's almost sometimes like a detective game.
Oh, completely. Yeah, that's the brain power you use. It can be quite tiring. I mean, I do a lot of listening, and from listening, you are always looking out for clues. You're looking out for sensory clues. You are basically observing, listening, using all the skills you have to see what things are. Because quite often, what comes out of someone's mouth is completely different to what is actually going on. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, you just have to work with what you've got, and no two clients are the same. You can never say, oh, that client was the same as the one before, or it's all completely different. And having kind of approaches that have a bit of structure, because we know that they work, but can flex to meet the individual needs. I think that's essential. But yeah, the exciting bit is dealing with humans.
Yeah.
When you deal with humans, you never know what you're going to get.
We don't, but it's fun. It's
absolutely
fun. And we've mentioned quite a bit about NLP, but the thing is, we do use a lot of other tools, but one of the big tools we use is hypnosis. How do you find hypnosis?
It's an incredible way to break down anyone's preconceived notions and allow us to get into that unconscious space. And just to see somebody go into a completely relaxed trance-like state and just, be able to access areas of the brain that where real change can happen is fantastic. And when you gently bring someone out of the trance at the end of it, it's sometimes some amazing things where people are just like, just been floating down this river, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's nice. Again, going back, one of my earliest memories of you was you sitting on that floor totally in trance. And it was funny when we started that course that I didn't really know much about trance, but we've learned to use it as a tool. And it's one of the best states I like to get into. We teach a lot of self-hypnosis with what we do, and people seem to really like doing that, but it's just such a lovely state to get.
I personally love going into trance, yeah.
It's just a beauty, and it's such a fantastic tool, and it still scares the hell out of me today sometimes how fast those results. To see a client one day can't go in a room with a spider, and then the following day picking them up and putting them out the window is quite funny. So yeah, it's a good, interesting career, and
absolutely.
And to be honest, I don't feel like it is a job because we get so much enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, sometimes I say that I'm coming to work for a rest.
That's it. That's good. Well, thanks for answering those questions, Bob. Now, if you've got any questions out there that you'd like us to answer, simply send them to us whichever way you want. And we're going to do a lot more regular videos, so we'll answer those questions and see what we can do for you. We've got lots of other videos on the channel and all over the place, so do watch them. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.
See ya.